Hello, good afternoon, everybody. So great to see you all. Just giving it a minute while everybody trickles in and approving all the note takers, which I'm using one myself. Awesome. Okay, I think I've got everybody in the room now. And I'm sure there'll be a few more joining. So if I pause for a second, that's probably what I'm doing. But I'll kick it off now since we're at 12:05. Welcome, everybody, to the first information session for event organizers of 2025. It's great to see so many people and even more people joining. And we've got about, I think, 60 people in the room for this first info session, which is fantastic. These information sessions are designed. Oh, and there's some more people from Climate. Maybe I'll just give it one more minute. We still have quite a few people coming in. Okay, great. I think we're good. Awesome. Okay, kicking it off again. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining me. We've got 62 people here for this first event organizer information session of 2025. My name's Morgan. I'm the director of SF Climate Week, and I'm super excited to be here to walk you through these information session that's designed specifically for event organizers who are looking to host an event this year. I'd love to introduce you to Lila Warren, who's also on the call today. Lila works on the climate-based team alongside me and was also heavily involved last year, which is fantastic. So she'll be in the chat. So if there's any Q&A that's happening, and you need a question answered that's specific to any of the slides or the stuff that I'm talking about, feel free to throw it in there. She can help connect you to resources or answer any questions that you might have. Just to give you a little sense of what we're going to do today. So these information sessions are designed for event organizers. I'm going to go through essentially how SF Climate Week is structured and the different ways to get involved. I'll let you know where we're at in the planning process and a little bit about the timeline leading up to SF Climate Week. And then I'll also cover some of the resources that we're currently working on putting together and will be released over the next couple of weeks and also months. And then at the end of the presentation section, we'll open up for Q&A as well. So if you have a question that I don't cover as part of the material, we can add that at the end. And then, or if you have an event idea in mind and you're looking for feedback or you're looking to connect with another co-organizer, et cetera, we will also have time to talk about that at the end. And you can get some feedback from me and also from potentially other people on the call. So I'll go ahead and kick it off by introducing Climate Base and introducing myself. So my name is Morgan Campbell. I'm the Director of Partnerships at Climate Base, and I'm also a Climate Base Fellow. So if you're not familiar with Climate Base, I had a slide in here, but I can't see it. So I will just do it off the cuff, which is okay because I've been here for 3 years, so I know it all at the back of my hand. Climate Base is an organization that does a number of different things. They started off as a job board to help climate tech companies find great talent. Oh, Lila's letting me know I'm in the wrong deck. That's probably why I can't find the slide that I'm looking for. Perfect. Amazing. Here's the slide about Climate Base. Kicking it off in presenter view. Amazing. Okay, so if you're not familiar about Climate Base, here's what we do. Started off as a job board and help a number of climate tech companies find great talent. Also help people break into the climate space with their first job in climate or their second job. And then they launched a fellowship program to specifically help people with that transition process. So I actually have about a decade of experience in tech partnerships and like a couple of years ago, realized I wanted to move into a more mission-driven career, and so I actually joined the second fellowship cohort, and that was a phenomenal experience. I met a ton of people, made some amazing connections with people here in the Bay Area, but also around the world because it is a global online program, and it actually led me to join Climate Base and launch the first SF Climate Week back in 2023. And we realized that we tapped into something pretty incredible in 2023. So the first year was meant to be a bit of a pilot year and really kind of testing the interest and the appetite for another climate week here in San Francisco. And the idea was we'd have like maybe 25, maybe 30 events and build some great connections with climate companies that were here in the Bay Area, and then collectively decide if we wanted to move forward and run a climate week again the following year. And instead, what ended up happening, if you were here for year one, was we ended up having 7,000 attendees who put together over 100 events in that first year in under 2 months, which was just astounding, but also a real testament, I think, to how passionate people are in the climate community and how quickly people are able to mobilize here in San Francisco. So that was a phenomenal realization that what we're building is not a conference. It's not a single event or gathering. It's really this community-driven movement of people just like you and hopefully you guys this year who are pulling together and elevating the best climate stories, the best climate solutions that are happening, and really helping to bring in more people into the fold. So didn't think I could be surprised again by the growth after year one, but last year surprised and knocked the socks off of us again. We grew almost 3x across all metrics. We had 350 events and exceeded 18,500 attendees, which was just mind-blowing and a phenomenal experience. This year, we're actually on track to be the largest climate gathering on the West Coast. Conservative numbers, if we 3x last year and we conservatively look at moderate growth, we're definitely going to exceed 25,000 attendees this year. I think there's a very good chance we'll exceed 30,000. And hard to say how many events we'll have, but you guys will have a big role in shaping what that number looks like. So SF Climate Week events come in all shapes and sizes. We don't have a specific prescription or formula that we ask you to follow. We see success with all kinds of events. Most events are a mixture of content and education. We see a lot of speaker panels followed by a happy hour, expert roundtables. There's events that are focused on specific areas or specific focus areas, disciplines within climate, and then of course across a number of different climate like tracks and industries. And so we see everything from like startup and investor summits, if that's the kind of stage that you're at and you're looking to connect specifically with people who can provide resources to help you mobilize an initiative that you're working on. We've seen great success with things like hackathons, but we also see a lot of events that kind of fall under what you might not see at a typical conference. So examples of artistic expression, events where people are spending time together out in nature. We saw an amazing group organized like a bike ride last year. We see opportunities for people to get together with like tree planting exercises. And we've also seen that the audience around SF Climate Week, as the events shift and change, the audiences are changing as well. And so we're definitely seeing more around community involvement and bringing in people who both work in climate full-time, but also people who are very passionate about San Francisco and are looking for ways that they can engage with climate here in their backyard. One of the things that we hear repeatedly from attendees of SF Climate Week and event organizers as well is that one of the things that stands it apart is the depth and the diversity of the events. And I think what's really interesting about this is, most conferences, like you typically will see, several thousand people and you've got a main stage and a bunch of breakout rooms. And so the event organizers really need to think about how do we make sure that the content is appealing to everybody who's attending and is accessible to everybody who's in the room. SF Climate Week, while it's huge and also the audience is very broad, it's also an opportunity to get hyper specific and very focused on a specific niche area and really think about who do you want to have in the room depending on what your event goal is. So we've heard from event organizers and attendees that they've been to like some of the most focused conversations around a specific type of technology, and everybody in the room had a decade of experience in battery technology, for instance. Or we've seen like closed door roundtables where groups are getting all of their customers and strategic partners who are coming in for SF Climate Week all around the table for a very like dedicated conversation about how to actually launch something within a few weeks or months. And so when you're thinking about your event and you're thinking about what you're looking to who you're looking to engage and what type of event you're looking to do, don't be afraid to go too narrow. One common concern that happens for most event organizers that I want to alleviate or disabuse you of for this year is every single event will sell out on the SF Client Week calendar. Absolutely. It's happened every single year. We do not have enough events for all of the people who would like to attend events every single day at SF Client Week. So most event organizers are wondering, will I fill the room? It's not a problem you're going to have here, which also gives you permission to be able to be more focused on a very highly targeted, specific issue. You don't need to make it really broad to appeal to a wide swath of people. We're bringing in so many people who have these very focused interests and expertise that you will get the concentration you're looking for, even if you decide to do a more hyper-focused event. So why do people attend SF Client Week? Lots of different reasons. Some of the ones that I did not include on here that I'm sure everybody would agree with is it's really fun. It's a great opportunity to connect with people and to celebrate the work that you're doing. But we also hear a lot of people talk about how it's a great opportunity to learn about new climate issues and solutions, or to deepen your expertise in the field if you've been working in a specific industry for a number of decades and you're looking to make sure that you're always on the cutting edge of what's coming next. We hear stories about people finding their co-founder at SF Client Week or finding great talent, like a really critical executive hire. And we also hear about people who are looking to launch their climate career. And this is a great way to make connections to break in and get that first climate job. If you are looking for investors and advisors, we hear of a number of startups who sometimes get their first check from SF Client Week or are kind of looking to raise a subsequent round. I heard someone last week told me that they got their very first customer at SF Client Week right after launching their product, which was great to hear. It's also a great opportunity to grow your market share if you're a little bit further along, connecting with corporate partners, establishing go-to-market partnerships. And more that we're seeing, and I think especially this year, is also connecting with government leaders and policymakers. We're getting a lot more interest from state government and from federal government this year, which is really exciting. And we are also really excited to be partnering with the city of San Francisco again this year and working with Daniel Laurie and his transition team as he looks to think about what are some of the policies we want to be implementing right here in San Francisco that really help foster innovation in the climate space. But really what all of these things boil down to at the end of the day is we're all looking to accelerate the solutions that we all need to need to get deployed even faster in order for all of us to be responsible stewards. And so that common goal, I think, unites all of us. And what's interesting is that when somebody might come out to SF Client Week for a particular reason, which might be related to their industry. But what we've also found is that a lot of people, we all share this common goal and this common interest in climate issues. And so a lot of people will also choose to add in some events that are outside of their maybe primary reason for coming to SF Client Week. So maybe it's somebody who specifically works in carbon accounting, but is also really passionate about learning more about what's happening in ocean sustainability or in sustainable aviation fuels. So it's a great opportunity to kind of build your own agenda and learn about some new climate areas in addition to furthering the work that you're doing in your own. So when you think about the overall SF Climate Week audience and who attends and is this the right event for you to be getting involved in, I would say kind of think about it from two different lenses. You can think about SF Climate Week both from a very broad lens, but then also from a very targeted lens as well. And that's because SF Client Week really is not an industry conference in that we don't have a specific theme, for instance, for each year or a specific climate solution area that we're focused in on. What we really think about as we think about SF Climate Week is that we are building a platform that really helps to elevate climate stories and climate initiatives from across all sectors and use our combined power and our shared audiences to shine a spotlight on areas that both are incredibly well understood and can be furthered and more people can get involved in, but also climate stories that are maybe very nascent or less popular. And there's an opportunity and there's a real missed opportunity in terms of not getting enough attention on these ideas as well. And so The overall audience will be everybody from people who do work in climate issues as their full-time job to people who are maybe just community members of the Bay Area who are looking to get more involved. And so from a marketing and storytelling standpoint, thinking about uh, your marketing and storytelling strategy as how do I engage this broader swath of people and educate them about what my organization or my climate solution is doing is key from like if you think about how you're engaging on the calendar, on social media, in like written content and whatever information you're capturing from your event. But then when you're thinking about who's at your event and who like and what content you're going to be delivering there, you can think about being much more targeted in terms of the actual event that's in the room. Most of the events last year were like under 100 people. And so you can kind of think about like who that community is that you're building. And many organizations will also choose to do multiple events during the week as well that are focused on a different audience. So you might think about doing an event that's more focused on specifically your customers for one session. You might think about doing something that's a bit more about evangelizing your specific climate solution or a climate if you're doing something around advocacy, a specific climate position that you're taking. And then there may be something else that's more targeted for specifically people who are working in your industry. In terms of the themes and things that we have seen covered, I mean, we really see events that cover the gamut. Everything from energy, buildings and infrastructure, climate communications, carbon capture, environmental justice across the board. The percentages that we show here in terms of the climate professionals, this is a representative sample from a number of like the events that we ran. We don't have full complete data because it's somewhat independent based on how event organizers are capturing data at the sign up. But we definitely see really strong representation from startups. We're seeing increasing interest from corporate partners who are also looking to figure out how they're engaging with startups and how they can also kind of be champions for climate innovation. Of course, a number of people from the investor community. We're looking also to really increase how we're supporting nonprofits and have been doing some dedicated outreach to try and get more nonprofit representation as well. And of course, more around like diversity of panels. We launched a speaker database last year that I'll talk about a little bit later. That's also a great way for you to be thinking about bringing in outside perspectives for any event or topic that you're leading. So great time for me to transition into talking about SF Climate Week support. So obviously with us running 350 events last year, that is not all us. We're a very lean and small team. It's really led by all of you. And so the way that we think about our role as the SF Climate Week organizing team is we really think about ourselves as this kind of cohesive glue or connective tissue that really helps to bring SF Climate Week and to bring all these different organizations together. So what does that actually look like? Well, we manage the setup and the operational support of a shared SF Climate Week calendar. We use a platform that gives you access to an individual partner event page. And what this allows us to do is that every event organizer has full edit and control and access over their specific event page, but all attendees have one destination that they can go to discover everything that's happening at SF Climate Week. It also means that we're kind of managing and streamlining what that registration process looks like, which makes it a lot easier for attendees to kind of choose their own adventure, put together their program, and make sure that all of the information that they need about which events they're attending and are registered for is all in one centralized place. So it's really important to us that all event organizers do use the Luma calendar. Sometimes it can be tempting to use Eventbrite or another third-party platform, but then you're missing out on both the cohesive experience for the attendee to have everything in one location, but also all of the marketing that we do that is geared towards the calendar. We kind of have this philosophy around a rising tide lifts all boats. And so with every organization that's participating in SF Climate Week, by having everybody promote and send people to the same location, it means that we are kind of bringing our respective audiences to the same place, and then all benefiting from being able to connect with new people who are not already in our own audience. If you wanted to run an event in San Francisco and just contact the people that you already knew, you could do that tomorrow. But this is an opportunity to connect with brand new people that are not already aware of your organization, of the work that you're doing, and then also to introduce your network to the great work that other people are doing as well. So we definitely encourage you to leverage the Luma page, and we make it super streamlined and simple. We also have a new way that we're going to be unveiling the calendar this year, which is very exciting. That'll be announced in a couple of weeks. We also run a centralized SF Client Week newsletter, which has been growing substantially since we launched in 2023. And we've got the SF Client Week social media channels, which allows us to engage both people who are coming to SF Client Week and all the people who are participating, but also all the people who cannot come and can't join us in person. So definitely think about how you can grab like sound bites or snippets of the events that you're hosting or the stories that you're telling, the speakers who are coming. And if you are turning any of that into great recap coverage or content, let us know. We would love to elevate those stories for you. And then we also just do a lot of like the SF Client Week audience building. A lot of that comes from the promotion that we do with the client-based audience, but we're also just seeing some really sizable partnerships now with other organizations that have broad reach as well, who are really starting to think about SF Client Week as a very strategic partner. We also manage all event organizer comms, attendee communications. This is great for everything around, here are the timelines for what's happening, when's the calendar going to open, what's the process look like, how does my event get reviewed? So we manage all of that. If you're thinking about running an event, make sure that you submit the Airtable on the event organizer CTA on the website. And then that means you'll be automatically enrolled in all emails that go out to event organizers. If you're here, you probably have already done that because we've only promoted this once and in one email. We had such a great response to it that we haven't promoted it again because Calendly limits us to 100 registrations, but we'll be running these every week going forward and then through March. And also we'll be adding in new updates to these info sessions as well, and recording them. So when we do add in new updates, we'll be adding just the updated part to YouTube as well. So you can go and kind of catch up, and you don't need to join necessarily a whole other info session unless you'd like to, but you can catch all the updates. We'll be sending them out as recorded sound bites as well. So another thing that we started doing last year, which was really successful, was we started doing venue and vendor research and created these venue and vendor databases for event organizers as well, to help anybody who hasn't run an event before or isn't based here in the Bay Area to connect with, just to kind of make it easier to kind of think about how are you actually putting your event together. So for example, we've reached out to a bunch of different venues in San Francisco and just let them know about the dates that are happening for SF Client Week, why they would want to be a host for an SF Client Week event, and really encourage them to hold these dates for climate-related organizations. Basically, it's like if somebody's coming to you and they want to do a healthcare event, tell them to do it the week before or the week after, because you're about to get a ton of inbound interest from people who are looking to host something at your venue, and you're going to want to be one of the event hosts as part of this citywide initiative to shine a spotlight on climate. So that's one thing that we've done. We also encourage venues to register through the venue database, which we'll make public to all event organizers who are registered to register their interest to host an event. So you can go through that database and kind of look at which venues match the requirements that you have. Do you need AV? Do you need like a certain capacity? Do you need to be in a certain part of the city? So you can kind of filter by all of those types of things and then reach out to some of these venues to look to book to your event. We've also encouraged a number of them to either waive their fees or to discount their fees for climate organizations during this week as well. And some of them have opted to do that. We also did we also did some research last year and are continuing to do some more around different vendors who, like food and beverage vendors who are already doing great work in implementing sustainable practices within their own business. And so creating a vendor list there as well. So if you're thinking about bringing food or bringing a catering company into your event, taking a look at this list is a great way to find a small business in San Francisco that's already mission aligned. We also do a lot of work around SF Client Week branded content creation from the event, photos, videos, editorial. We capture like a fraction of this ourselves, but really a lot of it, we like lean on partners to as you're capturing your events, And as you're pulling together, even in advance, as you're pulling together your speakers, pulling together the content for your sessions, let us know, share what you have, and we build that into a co-marketing campaign, because really the SF Climate Week story is the patchwork of all of your stories. We also coordinate with the city of San Francisco and more recently local, state, and federal government participation. We have just gone through a big elected official turnover across a number of different levels, and so we're keen to make sure that we're getting representative officials involved and hearing from the kind of being a conduit to help them hear from the community about areas where we need continued support and areas where they can really have an impact. Admitting some more people. And then finally, we also lead on the outreach to a number of prominent speakers, to media, and to shared PR coverage. So this is also an opportunity for us to collaborate. If you are if you do secure a big name speaker, or if you're reaching out to a big name speaker and you want to make it more compelling for them to make the trip out to San Francisco to attend, let us know who you're talking to or who you're in contact with. One of the things that we've found is that if we're able to create a proposal where someone can come in and speak at several events within a couple of days, that can sometimes help them justify the trip. So let us know. We may be able to help make some recommendations of other places where that speaker might fit in, or potentially it might be for one of our own events, like our welcome ceremony. And then also for media and press coverage. So over the last couple of years, we've had some really cool things happen during SF Climate Week. We had a startup come out of stealth mode. We've had some startup competitions announce their finalist winners during SF Climate Week. We've had some new data be unveiled. So if you're looking at doing anything that's kind of a newsworthy or noteworthy announcement that's going to be happening during the week, let us know. We'll put that in our shared kind of PR package that we are sharing with media, so that as they're looking for the stories that they want to tell and how they're thinking about engaging across the week, we can point them in your direction. And if they decide that they're interested in that particular story, we can help make introductions that way as well. Vice versa, if you have PR that's coming, or you're pitching press or media, let us know. We can, again, kind of similar to the prominent speakers, we can help kind of plug them into a few different areas or make recommendations if they're looking to round out a story with several different perspectives. One of the things that we're also launching is a partner marketing kit that will be coming out in the next couple of weeks. That's an opportunity for you to co-brand your event with SF Climate Week logo. We encourage all of you to use SF Climate Week branding. It helps make the entire event feel cohesive. We do not have any restrictions on you using our logos. We encourage you to, so feel free. You can also do like a range of different types of branding. So we will launch, we have templates that you can use that will be updated, so they're not going to be the same as these ones, but basically it's like if you look at the far right, you'll see these are event pages that were developed using the exact template. So makes it really easy, especially if you don't have a designer on staff and you just want to get your event page up and have it look good. That's an easy way to do it. If you have a brand that's very like kind of standalone, you have like your own visual identity that you want to keep, then you can also just do some very light touch branding. You can see in like the two on the bottom left, it's just a triangle with the logo, so you can kind of keep very keep like your own branding, but also still have it kind of fit into the cohesive nature. And then there's the ones on the top that are kind of a blend of both. So talking a bit about resources and timelines. So it's end of January. We are just about ready to get started on all of our kind of kicking off event organizer submissions, which we're really excited about. So depending on where you're at, definitely start to put kind of your plans together for your events. Although we do accept events all the way through through April, but in mid-February, the calendar is going to open for submissions from event organizers. So this is basically when we'll be launching an SF Climate Week calendar submission guide. This will walk you through all of the different steps of how to create your Luma page, which will be your event listing, and how to submit that to the calendar. We then have a very lightweight review process. It's pretty much like we're making sure that the event fits in within pretty lightweight guidelines, but it needs to like fall within the dates of SF Climate Week. It needs to be on a climate related topic. We don't want anything that's just a pure sales pitch. And then no slander or kind of attacking any other kind of other like climate issues or people, but these are really pretty loose. I think we've only turned down, I think, like 3 events in the history of SF Climate Week, which is only 2 years, but still. So that's what that process is going to look like. So stay tuned for that calendar submission guide that'll be coming out very soon. We'll also be launching the speaker database at the same time. So if you are someone who's not necessarily, if you're unsure if you're going to run an event, but you're looking to speak at an event, you can fill out the speaker nomination form, which essentially goes into this database that we make available to all event organizers so that as they're thinking about who they want on their panel, if they're looking for a more diverse voice, they can use that resource to tap new and reach out directly in order to get in touch with you or someone who's kind of representing or managing your intake. We'll also launch the venue database at that time and the food and beverage database as well. In March, we'll be opening the calendar up to attendees so that attendees can start to register for events and start to build out their program and their calendar. If you are not as part of the calendar at the time that we launch it for attendees, that's totally fine. You can continue to add, like the process will still be open for event organizers to continue to add their events through March. Just the sooner you get on the calendar, the sooner you start to get registrations and get a sense of who's interested in coming. And so that's kind of the primary advantage. But last year we even had events that were being added maybe like 2 weeks before SF Climate Week, and they were still just hitting capacity. So we definitely are keen to host your event no matter when you are able to finalize the details. One thing I will say though is that once you submit your event, you can still make changes, and so you can set up your Luma page, submit it. We just need to know kind of the general gist of what you're looking to do, what your key themes are going to be, who your target audience is. But things like your venue, even like the time when you're going to be hosting your event, those types of things can change. We've definitely had it happen before where an event organizer submits the event, the calendar goes live, they have like all of a sudden get way more registrations than they were anticipating. And then the event organizer decides that they're going to find a bigger venue so that they can accommodate more people. That's fully within your agency. You can make those updates after the fact. One thing that we do ask that you don't update, though, we are going to have some requested registration questions. This is going to allow us to collect macro data across everybody who's attending SF Climate Week. Things like what area of climate are you working in, your title. This type of data is really important for us to have when we talk to the city officials, when we talk to potential keynote speakers. And so once you set your registration questions, we do ask that you not make changes to them because it makes it really hard for us to do the data tabulation after SF Climate Week. And so that's just one kind of request from the organizing team because we ended up spending quite a few months over the summer trying to pull all these like different registration questions that were worded slightly differently, and want to make it easier on our data analysts this summer. So in March, we'll be opening in the calendar. We're also going to be launching these track calendar pages. Those are going to be located on the website. It'll make it even easier for people to be able to find events based on specific climate themes, which we're calling tracks. So we'll have more information about that in the next information session, including a design preview, which we're really excited about. We'll also be launching the partner marketing kit, which will have a bunch of other resources for how to brand and promote your event, and any additional resources too around kind of how you're thinking about organizing and planning your event, thinking about day of, sustainability at your event, et cetera. And then in April, the primary focus is really around locking in your attendees and getting that attendee list really locked down. One thing that we have heard from attendees in the past is that it can be really difficult for them to make travel plans or to figure out what their overall week-long program is going to look like if they don't hear back from event organizers about whether or not they've been accepted or even rejected from an event. So I think a tendency for a lot of event organizers is to go through and definitely like confirm people that you want to have, but it's equally as important to make sure you let people know if they're not really the right fit for your event. That's totally okay, but make sure you hit the decline button, let them know, and that way they can find another event that they're really excited about that's happening at the same time. The other main focus for April is raising awareness. This is a great time for us to be promoting events, promoting SF Climate Week, promoting the overall community, and then also thinking about how are you going to be capturing the insights and the learnings that are being shared during your event. And then we can think about how do we promote that even after April as part of the recap coverage, and really making sure that these great ideas are being disseminated beyond just your event and beyond SF Climate Week and in April, and think about how we can engage even more people who aren't able to attend in person. The last thing I will mention here is that we also have a number of sponsorship opportunities. Last year was the first time we really brought on week-long SF Climate Week sponsors, and it was a great success. So we're keen to do this again this year. We have 4 headline sponsor tiers. This is essentially someone who's sponsoring the entire week. And so there's a number of kind of benefits for that. So if that's something that you're interested in, let us know. We also have a few flagship events that we're running. 2 of them are repeats. So we are doing the SF Climate Week welcome reception again. That'll be on the Monday evening. And then we're also going to be running the SF Climate Week Founder and Investor Happy Hour. That'll be on the Wednesday evening. And then we're also looking at doing 2 climate-themed summits this year, the Future of Energy and a Startup to Scale Up Summit. So if you are interested in not organizing an event and wanting just to plug into an existing event, let us know. That's an option. Or if that's not you, but you have somebody in your network that you think would be a good sponsorship candidate or that they might be interested, send them our way. We are definitely taking referrals. Awesome. And then this is our sponsors from 2024. Huge thank you to these brands who really help kind of be the lifeblood of SF Climate Week and really help fund all of the work that we do to support all event organizers and all of the infrastructure across the entire week. And we'll have some 2025 sponsors to announce soon. And this is the end of the content portion of the event organizer info session. And so now I will be able to open it up to questions from the audience. So hopefully that was helpful, and I covered a lot of areas that you guys were hoping to hear about. I'm sure there are some things that I didn't cover and that you probably still have some burning questions. So if you want to, you can raise your hand and go off mute, and we can have a discussion. Heidi, awesome. I will have you go first. Thank you so much.
Hi, thank you for the presentation. That was super helpful. I just wanted, I work for a regional government agency, and so I'm interested in proposing a session focused on some of the climate work we're doing, but I didn't really see local governments or like government at all kind of listed as a core audience. So I wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, we are very excited to have events that are focused on all kinds of audiences. I would say that like as of Climate Week's own network and kind of the climate-based network, really, as we were thinking about year 1 and year 2, we're more focused on climate tech companies. That's more of just of the nature of like climate-based's core business. So we started off as a job board. The people that we have in network are a lot of climate tech companies that are looking to scale. And so that was the representation that we saw in year 1 and year 2. We're really excited that as SF Climate Week is growing and scaling, we're able to engage more and more audiences and different types of stakeholders. So highly encourage you to run that event. Let us know where you need support. We definitely would love to see more government and policymakers involved in SF Climate Week, and also to help be a conduit between different stakeholder groups. So if you're running something that's focused on a government audience, but you think there's an opportunity for climate tech or nonprofits to have a seat at that table, that's also a great opportunity to bring some different stakeholders together, which might be even a better use of kind of how we're thinking about bringing these different disparate groups together during this one particular week.
Great, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Trent, I think I saw your hand next.
Hi, thanks, Morgan, for everything you do. My name's Trent. I run marketing at Harvest. We had a wonderful event last year at SF Climate Week with Impulse Labs and Starshot Capital. We are looking for partners to do another event this year. And I'm wondering for the group, if anybody wants to partner, I'm here for it in terms of programming and/or space. But Morgan, I believe you mentioned the opportunity to sort of have that conversation at a more formalized level with y'all. Are you planning on having, or did I miss something about a database of folks who want to join with other partners and registering interest there, either from a space or from a programming point of view?
So we don't have anything for this for programming per se, more for space. So for space, it'd be like the venue partners, and the venue partners are not all like official venues. Like, for example, Silicon Valley Bank filled out the venue form last year, and they're like, we have a great space, an awesome office. We're happy to host people. So that would probably be like the closest thing to what you're describing. But if you, yes, yeah, so I would say potentially looking at doing a post on social that we could reshare to the SF Climate Week community. That could be a great way to kind of raise visibility of who you're looking to connect with. Or if you have like a very specific targeted request, you could send it to our SF Climate Week email address. And if we've had a conversation recently with somebody who fits the bill for what you're looking for, we may be able to facilitate an intro. The other way that we see people do it as well is that when the calendar does go public, which will be the beginning of March, also reaching out to other organizations that are doing something really similar. We've definitely seen groups on occasion like say, oh, hey, we're basically running like a very similar event. Do you want to combine forces, make this an even bigger event, grab a bigger venue, and align? And we've seen that work really well as well.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Tara, I'll call on you next.
Yeah, I am just curious if there's anything we could do to like help get started. I know that you said that there's an app. Can we download an app? Can we start our page? Is that something, or are we waiting for that to come?
I would say get all of your event details down, your event description, get started on that. Working on copy, graphics, etc. Thinking about who your target audience is. We are going to have the system available for you to build your page very, very soon. It's going to be out within the next week to 2 weeks. Phil, nice to see you.
Good to see you too, Morgan. Excuse me. Trent took one of the questions that I had in mind, but the other one was really about how to coordinate on different topics and themes for events. One of the challenges that we had last year, it wasn't difficult to sell out an event, but there were a lot of no-shows. And there were people who would sign up for one or two events and get dropped from one and then hop onto another. And it was really difficult to kind of fill the room because there were people who might be on a wait list who were kind of trying to get into something that somebody else was out of. One of the things we thought about was if we could, coordinate with other event organizers so that we're trying to optimize certain events or certain themes on those days, and we're like willing to do that in our area of focus in like circular economy, waste of value. Just curious if you have any suggestions for organizers or things that you're working on to help mitigate that challenge.
Yeah, so I'm kind of hearing two challenges here, or at least the way that we've been thinking about it. One is like, how do you align with other event organizers around key themes and scheduling and making sure there's no overlap? Usually when people ask me that question of like, how do I make sure that there's no other event happening on the same topic at the same time? Because I'm worried about conflicting priorities. What I tell them is, I honestly would not worry about that because we have so many people who are planning to come to SF Climate Week, and the average event is, 100, maybe 150 people. And out of 25,000, I mean, there's gonna be a lot of people who are looking to attend the same topics and won't be, and can't attend. Won't be able to get into an event that's happening at the same time. So we actually want multiple events happening at the same time from that perspective. From the but we don't have a great solution for how event organizers can notify each other about when their events are happening prior to like the events being submitted on the calendar. As an event organizer, you're going to have access to the calendar before it's being promoted to attendees. So there's basically kind of that 2-week window where event organizers are submitting their events, but we haven't started promoting it to attendees. That's an opportunity for you to take a look at what other organizers are doing something similar, and then potentially reach out and look at adjusting and making adjustments to plans that way. But I honestly wouldn't over index on it. I think the attrition issue and the no-show issue is actually a bit of a different problem. And we have some ideas around how to solve this one. I mean, or how to mitigate this one. I don't think there's a perfect solution, unfortunately. The issue with attrition, I think, is twofold. One, I think is partly because event organizers, like we can also do a better job as event organizers of letting people know earlier on, are you accepted or are you not accepted into an event? so we're opening up the calendar much earlier this year. This will be an opportunity for event organizers to also let attendees know much earlier, which allows them to establish what their firm schedule is going to look like for that week. And we're also on our side, on the organizing side, we're going to be doing even more communication to attendees as well, that they need to be updating their registrations and that they cannot be double booked for events. If we can, we're going to try and do targeted notifications for people who are scheduled for overlapping events. This can be difficult though, because we also do know that some events are much longer. Some people are planning on hitting both events. They just might not be there for the full period of time, but we are going to be doing much more communication here. And because the event is going to be, the calendar is going to open earlier, we're also going to close the calendar earlier as well, and basically give like probably 2 weeks, maybe a week at the very end, where we are only targeting attendees to basically finalize all of their RSVPs, and for event organizers to kind of do some remedial action there. In addition to that, I also recommend that you budget for at least 30 to 50% attrition when you're thinking about your events. You bet. And we'll put more of this into writing too for an event management guide that will be coming out a little bit later as well. Susan.
Hello. I wanted to ask you, we're with a marketing company that have many different environmental films that are new. What is the process for arranging a venue and for something like that and working with you?
Yeah, great. So you wouldn't work with us directly, but we've had a number of awesome documentary screening events that have been really well received in previous years. In the venue submission form, we have a number of venues that specifically have like support, like screen and auditorium viewing. So that would be a good resource for you to check out.
And we pay for that, right?
Well, it depends on the venue that you go for, but there's a number. I know there were documentary screenings that were hosted for free last year for sure. And a lot of the venues do offer to open up their spaces for free or for very basic, like at cost pricing. If they have fixed costs, like if they need to get security or a specific type of permit to host an event. I'm trying to think about who it was. Lila, you'll probably remember, but like it's not the Academy of Arts, but there's
it's
like
the CCA. So CCA did a seating change in the first year.
Did you say CCA?
Yep, that's it. But yeah, there's a lot of other great theaters in San Francisco. The Roxy, there's a lot of independent theaters that might be really open to this. Our small groups are like the Parkside in Oakland. There's a lot of really great small theaters who are looking to do independent films.
Right. And once we lock that in, you will cross promote and we reach out to you directly.
We listed on the event calendar, so it'll be on the shared calendar for all events, and that calendar gets like, I think it was like over 1,000 hits a day last year, minimum.
Oh, you said something about with PR. You had a PR team that we can work with if we.
Yeah, so if you send us a summary of what you're what you're doing, and why a media team might be interested in this particular. So if the director's coming out, for instance, or if there's something noteworthy, if it's the first time screening, for instance, then that would be something that would potentially make it into our media kit. So it would kind of just depend on the nature of the announcement.
Great. And who exactly do we send it to?
You can just send it to the general SF Climate Week at Climate Base email address. Let me just go back here. And it's managed by a team.
Also, Susan, if you look in the chat, there are many people who are giving you lots of resources right now.
Oh, perfect. All right. Thank you so much. So exciting. Very exciting. Good reason to come up to San Francisco again. All right.
That's great. Yeah, we're excited to see what you're presenting.
Yes, we have a bunch. We'll present them, and is it up to you to decide, or the venue? Who decides on?
The venue decides if they want to host you, but really you decide what the event is and how you get involved. No matter what, every year we definitely get emails being like, when is my event going to get approved? And really, it's your event is approved as soon as you decide that you want to run it. We have very, very minimal restrictions, which I mentioned earlier. They're also on the FAQ page on the website, but it's really like that it needs to be climate focused, not a sales pitch, and not slanderous or attacking anybody in particular.
Okay, well, That's none of ours are attacking anybody
It's
or
very
any
rare
of
that it
those
is in
above.
this community.
All
Yeah.
right. Thank you for your thorough answers. Really appreciate it. And I'll look at the chat.
Of course. Clementina, I'll call on you next.
I'm sorry, did you say something?
I was just calling on Clementina to go next. I think she's just unmuting.
Yes, sorry, it was kind of locked in. Yes, thank you so much for having this information available to us. Last year, I had two events. They were all in fashion, and it was and they were very successful. They were sold out, and the one thing that we ran into was the venues. So I know someone brought that up earlier. And do you have? And I'm sorry if I'm having you repeat, but do you have that list available of venues that are interested in possibly doing, a fashion show, textile related to food waste, textile waste, and also I am looking to partner with because one of the fashion shows that I'm trying to put together is going to be geared more towards clean tech, clean energy. So we are looking for a third partner to join us for that. And then the other one is going to be more on the food systems, waste systems, and anyone that might be interested in that as well, please reach out to me. Both events I've had before at LA Climate Week and New York Climate Week, and they've all been successful. And last year we were very successful with our events there with you all. So thank you so much. And I look forward to maybe collaborating with anyone that might be interested in those topics. Because we are looking for a venue and additional partners and sponsors. But just curious as to when you will have the venue list available, because I do want to lock that in as soon as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. So I see that Cece's already replied in the chat, which is fantastic. So if you are looking to connect specifically around fashion, there are a couple of initiatives that are in flight. In terms of the venue database, I believe it's almost ready to launch. If it's not already, it's going to be coming out in the next week or two maximum. So it'll be available very soon. I also would encourage you, though, not to rely on the database. So the database is really, it's the event venue locations that we've been able to touch base with and chat with and have expressed interest. There's a ton of other venues that we have not had a chance to talk to over the course of the summer. So I definitely encourage you to do your own research as well, especially if you have unique needs. Like if a fashion show is a little bit different, a different type of event structure than.
Well, it would not just be fashion show. It's panel talks. It's just the same what we had last year with San Francisco fashion, sustainable fashion exhibition.
I think, am I frozen or is Clementina frozen? Uh-oh, I think I'm frozen.
Definitely reach out for on venues. Like, don't wait for the venue database. Use that as
no, I will.
Yeah.
I will. Yeah. But I just finally wanted to just reach out to Susan because I'm also a filmmaker and I have films available. I don't know if you'd want to partner together, Susan. I'm looking for also a venue for the film screenings, and I have several films that I've directed. So if you want to collaborate,
I put my email in the chat. I can put it again, and you can reach out because we specialize in environmental films. We did everything from Common Ground, Kiss the Ground, The Biggest Little Farm, you name it. We've done it.
Okay.
So
I could definitely bring in all my films as well, and they're also related to different topics. So thank you so much. I won't take up more of the space.
Thank you.
Sorry, guys, I disappeared there for a second. My Zoom gave up before I did, but I'm still keen to answer more questions despite Zoom trying to kick me off. Kevin, how about we call on you next?
Yes. So one is I just want to throw out if anybody wants to collaborate on doing a story slam for climate stories. Please hit me up and I'll put my email in the chat. And then my question is, my company is Climate Hive, and we're going to be doing, we're basically launching a podcast, What Do You Solve? And I was just going to reach out to 90. We just want to have like SF Climate Week in the background, and I have some other locations. But are there any suggestions? It's not really an event. We're just basically doing interviews. We're going to be doing a live podcasting. for about 4 hours. But should I just reach out to the venues when they come out, see if there's a space? Any suggestions there?
Yeah, I think that's definitely an option. And the other thing to think about too is, are you bringing in all your own equipment? Thinking about the soundproofing, or are you like, it sounds like you're not going to have an audience, so you just need like a room with good sound and equipment hookup.
Yeah, we just want to have like some background feel, like the noise in the background a little bit, like. But
Okay.
we will have our own equipment for all the podcasting and video recording, everything.
Awesome, great. In that case, it sounds like your venue needs are not like you're kind of coming with most of the things that you need, so there should be a good spot for you in the venue database. The other thing to think about is like, is there a partner like even there's a lot of companies that just open up office spaces. They might give you a boardroom or like a different space within like their office that's can like be stunning and beautiful and also completely free, which is also really nice.
Okay, we're looking at that too, so perfect. Thank you.
And Nicole, I think you're going to be our last question of the day.
Thanks for hosting. I was curious about two things. If you have locations picked out for the flagship events, and the other question is, how do we access the informational videos that you'll be making weekly if we're not able to attend them all?
Great questions. I'll do the second one first. We'll be adding them to our YouTube channel. So you can actually find last year's event organizer session there as well. This one will go up. And then we'll be putting the subsequent recordings up as well. And we'll just flag basically, here's where the new update starts. You can kind of go to that section right away and skip the preamble that you already heard today. In terms of venue locations, so yes, I think it's okay for us to announce, Lila, that our welcome ceremony.
I think we might want to do a more formal announcement. Yeah.
We do have our venues locked in. I'm not going to announce it yet because Lila's in charge of marketing, so I will hold off. And we're very excited for our welcome reception. Yes, we've got line of sight on our venues for all of them. That said, if you have an amazing venue and you would really like to host us, let us know. We are potentially also adding additional events that were not mentioned in this session. And we have one event that we're kind of still in between spaces for, that we're kind of ideally looking for something a little bit bigger if we can swing it.
Okay, if we want to find out information about sponsoring San Francisco Climate Week, but we have some specific questions about like what does that entail and the different tiers, is there someone available to talk? I've emailed the general email and I didn't get a reply, and so I'm just curious about more details, who we can talk to about this stuff.
That'll be me. Apologies if we've missed your email in general. January has been kind of crazy. So now that I know that I was about to put the email address in the chat. For anybody else, if you're interested, this would be the email to message. I'll take a look for your email right after this and reach out to you, and we can chat about your specifics. We are also growing our team. Right now it's a mighty team of 2. We're currently onboarding one other, and we're hiring for somebody else who's likely going to start next week or the week after. So our response times will start to pick up a little bit as we fully onboard the team, which we're excited about. Awesome. Anybody want to jump in and steal Nicole's title for last question of the day? If not, we will go ahead and adjourn, and we will be sending out another event organizer email soon with the date for the next event organizer info session. If you have any other general questions between now and then, you can email SF Climate Week at ClimateBase. Nicole, I'm going to email you. Looking forward to seeing all of you in just under 3 months, which is super exciting.
Bye. Thank you, everyone. See you online. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.